When you disappear, not out of spite, not to play games, but from a place of stillness and self-respect, something shifts. The space you once filled becomes noticeable. The conversations she used to overlook now echo in her mind. And this is where it gets interesting, because a woman doesn't always react immediately. But day by day, her mind starts working in ways even she can't fully control. Day 1, she assumes it's temporary. Day 2, she wonders if you're trying to teach her a lesson. Day 3, she starts questioning her value in your eyes. And from there, the spiral begins. Not because you disappeared in anger, not because you wanted to punish her, but because you held your frame. You withdrew from what no longer felt balanced. You chose peace over noise. And that, my friend, is what makes her think deeply. In this video, we're going to walk through the emotional landscape she navigates day by day after your silence begins. From her initial denial to the quiet moments when your absence feels heavier than your presence ever did. This isn't just psychology. This is Stoicism in motion. You don't chase. You don't beg. You simply remove yourself and let nature, time, and her own thoughts do the rest. Let's begin. Number 1. The vanishing act. The silent storm behind her smile. She's surprised, confused. Your silence hits like a pause she didn't expect. She checks your messages again. Maybe she missed something, but there's nothing. Just stillness. And that stillness grows louder in her mind with every passing day. At first, she thinks it's temporary. Maybe you're just busy. Maybe you're trying to make her chase a little. But then, hours become a day becomes 2, and suddenly, that silence feels like a wall. One she didn't expect from you. Not the guy who always answered. Not the man who used to care. What she doesn't know is that a stoic man doesn't retreat to punish. He withdraws to protect his peace, to realign with his values. He doesn't get dragged into emotional chaos. He doesn't beg for clarity where there is confusion. He observes, reflects, and walks away, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. And while you're grounded in that calm, she begins to feel the shift. On the 2nd or 3rd day, she starts to remember little things. The sound of your voice, the way you used to explain things with that calm certainty. She replays your last conversation, trying to catch any hint of coldness, any clue that you were about to step back, but you gave none. Because a man who moves with discipline doesn't need to announce his silence. He lets the silence speak. By day 4 or 5, it's no longer just about messages. She notices your absence in her daily routine. She expects a meme you'd normally send, a morning text, a check-in, but none of it comes. That's when curiosity turns into unease. She might post something just to see if you'll react. Maybe something a little flirty, a little indirect, a test. But a grounded man doesn't take the bait. A stoic remains still because he knows attention isn't something to be handed out like candy. It's earned through effort, not assumed through access. Now, the silence starts to make her question herself. Not because you ghosted, but because you disappeared with grace. No chaos, no drama, just calm distance. And that messes with her more than yelling ever could. A week passes. She starts wondering, did he really walk away for good? She didn't expect that. She thought you'd crack, reach out, fold, but you didn't. And that's when it hits her. This man doesn't need me to feel whole. And that's the power of restraint, of emotional discipline. She thought silence meant indifference. But now, she's learning that silence from a man like you means self-respect. And that is what she starts to miss. Number 2, echoes of you. Now she notices echoes of you. Everything. Your absence, your presence in her memory. Your voice echoes in her mind when things go quiet. The way you used to check in just to see how she was doing. The way you laughed, not too loud, but enough to make her feel safe. The calm you brought into her life when everything else felt overwhelming. It wasn't just what you did, it was how you did it. You were patient, present, a steady force that never demanded anything but always gave peace. You've become the still water she once swam in, now gone. And only now does she realize how refreshing it truly was. See, a stoic man doesn't chase attention. He doesn't fight for space in someone's life. He simply embodies peace, discipline, and emotional control. He gives freely, but he knows when to walk away, when that presence is no longer valued. At first, she didn't think much of your silence. She assumed you'd circle back eventually, that you'd reach out again. But as the days pass, your stillness grows heavier. Not in a cruel way, but in a way that makes her feel the weight of your absence. Now she begins to reflect. You're not flooding her with messages. You're not reacting to her stories. You're not asking to be seen. And that's exactly why she starts to feel your presence more deeply. Because while she's scrolling, while she's lying awake at night, it's your words that replay, your calm that lingers. She compares every interaction to the space you used to fill so effortlessly, and nothing feels the same. What's more powerful than a man begging for attention? A man who doesn't need it. That's the man who lives rent-free in her mind. You've become what she reflects on. Not because you were loud or demanding, but because you were solid, rare, intentional. The kind of man who doesn't just speak peace, he lives it. That's the Stoic difference. You didn't vanish out of spite. You stepped back out of self-respect. And now she's left sitting in the silence you once used to soothe her with, realizing it wasn't silence at all. It was you. And now that it's gone, she hears it louder than ever. Now, as you mull over these thoughts, I invite you to engage with this concept further. Did this perspective resonate with you? Do you feel the weight of absence in your own experiences? Take a moment to like this video if it struck a chord and share your thoughts in the comments below. Or, if you prefer, simply type "The silent conversation speaks volumes" to let us know you're reflecting along with us. Let's delve deeper into the power of presence, absence, and the Stoic way as we continue our exploration. Number 3. Doubt creeps in. She starts asking herself quiet questions in the stillness of your absence. Was it something I did? Did I push him away? That confident mask she wore with such ease, the one that made her seem untouchable, begins to falter. The facade doesn't hold up so well when there's no one around to react to it. She scrolls through your old messages, replays the tone of your last conversation, rereads the way you used to show up for her. She's not looking for closure. She's looking for the moment your energy shifted. But the truth is, you didn't change. You didn't turn cold. You didn't play games. You simply stopped showing up where your presence wasn't respected. You made the quiet decision to stop pouring into someone who never truly held out their hands to receive it. And now, in that quiet void you left behind, something uncomfortable is beginning to take root. Awareness. You didn't disappear to get back at her. You stepped back to protect yourself. You didn't explode, accuse, or demand explanations. You didn't try to force understanding. You simply withdrew, with calm, with grace, with intention. You chose peace over performance. And now, time is doing what it always does, unfolding the truth slowly, without noise. Because letting her confront herself in your absence, that isn't cruelty. That's maturity. That's self-respect. That's growth. Not just yours, hers too, if she allows it. When a man who has developed emotional discipline pulls back, it's never to punish. It's to protect the inner calm he fought hard to build. His silence isn't a weapon. It's a boundary. And ironically, the very thing she once saw as indifference now feels like a mirror reflecting all the moments she ignored your effort, all the ways she overlooked your consistency, and all the little times she assumed you'd always be there, no matter what. A Stoic man doesn't argue for validation. He doesn't chase to be seen. He lets his silence speak what his words never could. He knows that people rarely appreciate what they can access anytime. Sometimes, it's the absence that teaches, the pause, the sudden quiet where warmth once lived. And now she's learning. Not because you told her, not because you pleaded, but because you finally stopped proving your worth. That's the power of detachment, with clarity, of choosing yourself, not in anger, but in alignment. She expected a reaction. She expected pursuit. But what she got was reflection. And now your absence, the one she dismissed at first, has become the loudest presence in her life. You've become the question she can't stop asking. And this time, the answer isn't yours to give. It's hers to find. Number 4. Attention shifts. She starts posting more often. A fresh selfie here. A mysterious quote there. She's texting her friends nonstop, booking her weekends, keeping busy like nothing's wrong. On the surface, it looks like she's moved on, like you never even crossed her mind. But let's be real, her thoughts keep drifting back to you. To the man who didn't flinch. The one who didn't blow up her phone or beg for a second chance. The guy who used to always be around, calm and consistent. Now, completely silent. No drama, no explanations, no need to prove anything. And that silence? It's louder than anything you could have ever said. She's filling her schedule, but deep down, she's trying to fill a space only you used to occupy, a space built by a man who didn't just exist. He had presence, and no amount of noise, attention, or distractions can replace that. She checks her story views. Did you watch? Did you like? Will you say something? But nothing. You're not checking. You're not reacting. You're not playing that back and forth game because you're not living for updates. You're living for something deeper. That's the essence of being stoic. You're grounded. You're focused. Your peace doesn't depend on being seen or noticed. It's rooted in your purpose. You don't chase chaos when you've built peace within yourself. You're not ignoring her to win. You're just done performing. And she's starting to realize this isn't a trick. It's just how you move, calm, unbothered, certain of your value. And that quiet strength, that stillness she didn't fully understand before, it lingers in her mind. She can go out, post stories, laugh with friends, but none of it drowns out the man she lost, the one who didn't need to speak loudly to be remembered. Because your silence? It's not distance. It's presence on a different level. A level she didn't appreciate when she had it. But now it haunts her in the quiet moments. If this hits something deep, take a second to sit with it. Reflect on how often we confuse noise for meaning and how powerful it is to remain grounded when emotions try to pull us out of character. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's a statement, a boundary, a form of presence. Self-respect. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced this shift before? Drop your perspective in the comments or simply type, "My silence speaks for me." Let's see who's really walking in that quiet strength. Number 5. Memory lane becomes a trap. Remember that song you once sent her? That inside joke that only made sense to the two of you, or the way you would softly say her name, making her feel seen and valued? Those memories are flooding back to her now, but they carry a heavier weight. What once sparked joy now brings a touch of sorrow. There's no reply on the other end, no comforting voice, no you to relive those cherished moments with. While she's caught in a seemingly endless rewind of the past, your path has diverged. A stoic man lets go of memories without resentment, not because they weren't cherished, but because clinging to what has ended is a betrayal of self-growth. You don't dwell in the echoes of the past. Instead, you glean lessons from it. You honor the experiences shared without allowing them to chain you to what was. That's the crucial difference. She's now the one replaying those shared moments, trying to pinpoint when the change occurred, wondering when the comforting silence turned into a chasm of absence. That silence now speaks volumes, filled with all the nuances she once dismissed. The small gestures, the consistent efforts, the subtleties of your attention that seemed trivial until they ceased. But you harbor no bitterness. You're not hoping she feels burdened by the same weight. You're simply stepping forward, each move grounded in the lessons learned, anchored by your core values. Because a stoic man doesn't grasp at the remnants of what has drifted away. He accepts. He adapts. He recognizes that the past is a teacher, not a sanctuary. While she's entangled in nostalgia, trying to find her way back to something she didn't fully cherish at the time, you've already absorbed the lessons and moved on. Not with coldness, nor with cruelty, but with clarity. You are clear about who you are, clear about what you bring to the table, and unequivocally clear about what you truly deserve. Number 6. Testing the waters. She might try to reel you back in. A random direct message, a casual haha on your latest post, or a perfectly timed photo that seems a bit too coincidental. She's testing the waters, curious to see if you'll bite, if you'll show signs of cracking, if you're still revolving around her world like before. But you don't take the bait because you've transcended those games. You're on a path of growth, not playing in the minor leagues of mind games. A man devoted to his purpose won't be swayed by mere breadcrumbs. You can tell the difference between genuine connection and mere emotional bait. You're not in the chase for scattered pieces of attention that lead nowhere. A Stoic man knows attention without intention is merely distraction. So while she's looking for some kind of slip-up, you respond with calmness. This isn't about spite. It's about sticking to your principles. You've built your foundation on discipline, not desperation. You're not recycling old energies. Your focus is on creating something substantial with someone who approaches you with clarity and sincerity, not with tests and traps. You've trained yourself to pause, to assess, to reflect before diving into action. That's the resilience she didn't anticipate. That's the maturity that leaves her wondering, why isn't he chasing after me? Because once a man discovers his purpose, he stops chasing after those who just run in circles. He moves in a straight line forward, always forward. And from that stronghold of quiet determination, his silence becomes more profound than any words could ever be. It speaks volumes, echoing a message more powerful than any text or call. Reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever found strength in your silence, choosing purpose over mere reaction? Share your stories in the comments below, or if you prefer, simply type purpose over breadcrumbs to affirm your commitment to meaningful pursuits over fleeting distractions. Let's explore together how maintaining our principles in the face of temptation can lead to greater self-respect and, ultimately, a more authentic life. Number 7. Pride and panic. Her pride instructs her to remain detached, to stay cool and seemingly unbothered. She reassures herself with thoughts like, he'll come back. He always does. But this time, something feels distinctly different. The silence has changed. Gradually, it begins to gnaw at her. Not because of any dramatic words you uttered, but rather because of all the things you didn't say. You didn't plead. You didn't offer explanations. You didn't attempt to mend what wasn't your fault. You simply vanished, but with your dignity intact. That's the hallmark of a Stoic man. Your absence is palpable precisely because your presence was always significant when you were around. You were fully present, focused, grounded, intentional. You were the listener, the steady hand, the calm in the storm. You were there in ways that mattered, in ways that brought stability where others brought disarray. So now, when you step back, it doesn't come off as just another mind game. It feels substantial, meaningful. It's not a tactic, but a genuine shift, a moment of unexpected clarity for her. Now she's left to sit with this new weight, pretending it doesn't affect her. Yet the silence speaks volumes, louder than her pride is willing to acknowledge. Because a man like you doesn't exit lightly. You offer opportunities, embody patience, and provide chances to mend fences. But once you retract your spirit, once your own peace becomes more vital than proving your value, that's when the real impact hits her. The absence, the profound stillness, the palpable space where your positive, supportive energy once filled her days, and the stark truth. It's not merely the silence that's tearing at her. It's what the silence signifies. A man who understands his worth and isn't afraid to step away when that worth isn't acknowledged. A man who knows when to leave. Leaving a void that wasn't anticipated, but is profoundly felt. This is the real lesson of silence. Not just the quiet, but the respect and self-regard it represents, echoing loudly in the void you've left. The void becomes real. Behind number 8, the void becomes real. Now, it's not just about the text. It's deeper than that. It's the absence of something she didn't know she depended on until it was gone. It's the energy you used to bring into her life. Quiet but grounding. The calm that wrapped around her when her world felt chaotic. The steady presence that made her feel safe to unravel, knowing you wouldn't. You were the strength she leaned on, often without even realizing it until now. And now that energy is gone. Not just missing from her phone, missing from her world. Because your presence was never just digital. It wasn't about a good morning message or a well-timed call. It was in how you spoke with clarity when she was confused, in how you moved with purpose when things felt uncertain, in how you stayed composed when everything else was a storm. Your presence was felt in your tone, your timing, your silence. You brought order, not noise. Peace, not pressure. You didn't disappear to hurt her. You didn't go quiet to make a point. You stepped away because you needed you to return to your center. To breathe in solitude instead of suffocating in misunderstanding. To guard your peace instead of trying to fix something someone else wasn't ready to value. You didn't abandon her. You realigned with yourself. And that kind of absence? It's not loud. It doesn't make a scene, but it shifts everything. It moves the atmosphere. It makes her sit with questions she can't answer and feelings she didn't expect. Because your distance isn't rooted in revenge. It's rooted in self-respect, in intention, in purpose. A Stoic man doesn't retreat to seek validation. He retreats to maintain his integrity. He knows when to stand still and when to walk away, not out of anger, but out of wisdom. Out of knowing that sometimes the greatest act of strength is refusing to stay where your soul feels unseen. She might act like she's fine. She might post, laugh, and move forward like nothing changed. But deep down, something has changed because what she misses isn't the messages. It's the man behind them, the emotional anchor, the logical calm in her emotional waves. The way you brought stillness when everything inside her was spinning. That stillness, she took it for granted. Now it's a void. And in trying to fill it with noise, with distractions, with anything that mimics connection, she's realizing it wasn't just that you were present. It was how you were present, fully, unshakably, authentically. Now, without you, she's starting to understand the difference between being entertained by someone and being grounded by someone. The difference between someone who keeps her busy and someone who made her feel safe. That's the quiet power of your absence, not to punish her, but to remind her. You were never just a message. You were never just someone to talk to. You were a man of depth, principle, and peace. And that kind of man doesn't vanish. He reclaims himself. And once a woman feels the impact of that kind of presence, your silence won't just echo. It will teach. Number 9, curiosity turns to longing. She wonders, is he thinking of me? Does he even miss me? These questions grow louder and more insistent with each passing day of your silence. She stares at her phone, longing for a sign, a message, a like, perhaps even a small slip in your discipline. She's hoping for any clue, something that signifies she still occupies a corner of your thoughts. Yet her screen remains dark. The notifications? Silent. This absence of communication isn't a sign of indifference on your part. Rather, it's a conscious choice to prioritize your serenity over perpetuating patterns that previously left you feeling depleted. In your silence, there is a deliberate decision to seek peace rather than engage in chaotic exchanges. Care, when offered without clarity, doesn't forge connections. It breeds confusion. As a Stoic, you understand that dwelling in uncertainty is no way to live. Your approach isn't about being unfeeling. It's about being unequivocal in your intentions. You comprehend that true love, the kind that resonates on the deepest levels, isn't about continuously proving one's feelings. It's about sharing moments of truth, free from the strain of unresolved tensions. Thus, while she may struggle with the quiet, you find solace in it. Your choice to maintain distance is not aimed at causing her pain, but is a measure to safeguard your own emotional well-being. A man rooted in self-respect doesn't yield to mere curiosity. He makes a return only when the foundational elements of a solid relationship, consistency, communication, and clarity, are firmly in place. This explains why your silence carries such profound weight. It's not void of meaning. It is laden with purpose. And somewhere beneath her initial frustration, she recognizes this truth. You are not idly waiting or fervently pursuing. You are simply upholding your dignity and honoring the tranquility you've fought hard to establish. This disciplined response doesn't just differentiate you, it defines you as a man who knows his value. A man who responds not out of immediacy of emotions, but from a place of profound self-awareness and respect. Number 10. respect awakens. Now she understands. The silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a testament to strength, the kind that doesn't need to shout to make its presence felt. It wasn't about rejecting her. It was about reflection, a moment of pause. You chose not merely to punish, but to safeguard your own peace. Initially, she misread the situation. She assumed, perhaps, you had stopped caring, or maybe your interest had simply waned. But as she dwelt in the void you left, her perspective shifted, bringing everything into sharp focus. You didn't disappear like someone who ghosts out of fear or uncertainty. You took a step back like a man fully aware of his own value, a man who doesn't engage in disputes over affection, doesn't plead to be noticed, and doesn't pursue those uncertain of his worth. Your departure wasn't fueled by anger. It was guided by clarity. You are acutely conscious of what you contribute. Your presence is never haphazard, never born of desperation. It's always intentional. Thus, when you choose to withdraw, it carries significant weight. And now she truly feels the impact. She begins to discern the difference between someone who vanishes to dodge accountability and someone who steps away because their worth isn't reciprocated. You didn't demand her comprehension or acknowledgement. You simply allowed the silence to convey your message. And within that quiet, she finally grasped the essence of what was happening. This wasn't about her losing you. It was about you rediscovering yourself. Now, confronted with this stark contrast, she recognizes precisely what she forfeited. Not a boy who fled in fear, but a man who stands firm, opting for self-respect over fleeting validation. Number 11. The ball is in her court. Now, the ball is squarely in her court. Regardless of whether she decides to make the next move or not, one undeniable truth remains. She will forever remember the man who favored discipline over drama, stillness over chaos, and peace over the incessant pressure of turbulent emotions. You remained unresponsive to the surrounding clamor. You didn't crumble under the heavy tides of emotion that might have overwhelmed others. You stood unshakably firm, a testament to who you are. And it was unexpected because most people find the weight of silence too heavy to bear. But not you. You didn't fade away into oblivion. You evolved. You ceased to justify your presence in spaces where you felt unheard. You stopped pouring out more than what was valued, more than what was reciprocated. You halted your attempts to demonstrate your worth to someone who should have recognized it effortlessly. And that silence, it didn't crush her. It served as a catalyst for awakening. It pushed her to think deeper and harder about you, the man who maintained his composure amidst the storm. About herself and her reactions to things she couldn't understand. About what she truly lost, not just a guy who walked away, but a man who matured, who chose growth over complacency. That's the essence of a Stoic man's withdrawal. He doesn't beg. He doesn't succumb to the desperation of a chase. He simply steps back, creates space, and allows the truth to manifest itself. And now she sees it all more clearly. She feels the depth of the change. And whether she admits it or not, whether she ever speaks a word of it, she'll never be able to erase it from her memory. The silence you left speaks volumes, echoing in her thoughts. A constant reminder of the man who walked a path of quiet dignity and profound self-respect. Conclusion. Thank you for joining me as we navigated the unspoken currents of silence and its profound impact on what she thinks day by day after you disappear. Silence, as we've explored, isn't merely an absence of words. It's a full presence, a powerful form of communication that speaks to the strength and self-respect of a Stoic man. This journey through her emotional landscape, day by day, highlights not just what happens when you step back, but the importance of staying true to your principles and the magnetic power of self-respect. It's not about the games. It's about gaining clarity, about valuing your peace over the chaos of unbalanced relationships. If you found this exploration insightful, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. What part of this journey resonated the most with you? Have you experienced a similar transformation in your interactions? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on more content like this. Check out the recommended videos on the screen to dive deeper into how Stoicism can guide your personal and relational growth. Thank you for watching, and remember, Sometimes the most powerful message is the one left unspoken.